Alright, what's up guys? Been a little bit since I made a regular video like this. Bunch of things happened. So I went to Portland. I skated this event with the distributor of my skateboard company, Collage Skateboards, Club Distribution. They're located in Oregon, and they were a part of this Pacific Northwest event called Portland King of the Road. So myself and Paul Rutkowski, who I sponsor with Collage, we went up there. We skated with other guys from other companies that are a part of Club Distribution, and we competed against other companies that are located in that general region. Had a lot of fun, got to skate a bunch of street spots up in Portland. I came back, got sick, as I often do when I get back from traveling, and just kind of didn't really feel it. I know I did edit and put up the interview with Patrick Melcher, which that was awesome. I shot that before I left. I edited it while I was sick when I got back. If you haven't watched it, check it out. But gonna get back into making videos. First, I want to thank all of the patrons. I really appreciate you guys. Now this video is actually a section of a video that I already put up for the patrons. So if you're interested in, first off, seeing certain videos first before I make versions for YouTube, if you're interested in one-on-one lessons with me, or if you're interested in sending me videos and getting my direct feedback on you attempting tricks or you landing tricks that you just want to do better, that's things that I do over on the Patreon group. Somebody mentioned starting a Discord server. I'm looking into doing that for the patrons, so that's something that'll be there in the future. It's not running right now. But yeah, if you also want to show your appreciation, there are subscriptions here on YouTube, and there are the thanks. There's Buy Me a Coffee, which is linked in the description. You can do all that. So basically, what made me make this series of videos, there's going to be a total of 3 of these, so this is just the first, was I was watching a skate video. I was watching something, and it made me think of like things that made me improve as a skater, like things that I can directly identify that I did that changed my skating for the better. It made a lasting impression that I can still pinpoint today. So this is the first of 3, and I made a video covering all 3 of them that's already up on the Patreon. So today I'm going to talk about why you need to be doing long slides. And there are a lot of people who would say maybe you should be trying long grinds, long slides, things like that. There's probably going to be people whose opinion differs on what to try, but I can tell you from my own experience that what really changed my skating was long, slappy nose slides. And I'm going to give you some reasons for that first. So the first reason is that you don't have to ollie onto a slappy nose slide, right? All you got to do is be able to have enough control to turn into the ledge and have enough confidence to put most of your weight on your front foot, and have the ability, as I've talked about in the video where I taught board slides and the video where I taught nose slides, to sit in that bicycle position where your knees are bent. Preferably your thigh is at a is parallel to the ground. Your arms are up, and your head should be in front of your knees or just at your knees, but preferably in front of your knees. That's what works the best for me. So that's the first reason, is that all you have to do is slappy into it. The second reason, and this is why I think the slappy nose slide takes precedence over like a board slide, because some people like probably learned long slides with a board slide. I tried to do that early in my skating. I had a little flat bar that was like PVC put over wood that I made, and I would always slip back because the board slide compared to the slappy nose slide feels completely untethered. And what I mean by that is when you do the slappy nose slide, you're standing a little bit wider, preferably, and you have the ledge just beneath your foot. So most of our feet, unless you're a very small person, are going to hang off of our board a bit. And for me, I use that to my advantage these days. I have my heel hanging off the tail. I wear a size 12. There's an extra third of my foot hanging off of the board if the rest of, if my foot's covering the nose, or maybe a little more than a third, whatever, but there's a lot of my foot hanging off the back of the nose when I do a nose slide. So I will use that to control the speed of my nose slide. I will use that to help me to control the nose slide in general. But you have that underneath you. Whereas when you do the board slide, your board's connected to the rail, connected to, I don't know, a piece of PVC, a piece of wood, just with the center of the board, right? So you have to learn how to balance the other sides of the board. And that creates an issue when you're inexperienced. What would happen with me is, before I was adept at ollieing only as high as I needed to and not turning more than 90 degrees, I would always rock back and forth and slip backward. So it took a long time for me to be comfortable enough, confident enough, and controlled enough to ollie right into the position I needed to be in and control my weight for the board slide. Whereas, like the first reason I gave for the slappy nose slide is that you're just doing a slappy, you don't have to ollie. That makes it easier to get in with some control. And also, you're only on top of a curb, right? So that means your nose isn't hanging over as well as your tail. So you only have one side of the board really to worry about. And as long as you're kind of leaning a little bit of your weight more onto the nose than you are on the other side of your board, you're not really worried about falling off to that side. And if you do feel a little out of whack, you can just step off the board. So there's something underneath you, and it's a little less scary because you don't have that void under the front and the back of the board. And you're not worried about overturning or underturning a little bit. If you get into a slappy nose slide slightly underturned, you can usually adjust that while you're sliding once you get comfortable enough with them. If you get into it a little overturned, sometimes you can even get away with that. Sometimes you'll get stuck, but the beauty is you're just leaning into a curb as opposed to jumping and putting all of your weight on top of a beam. So those are the main two reasons that I think the slappy nose slide is better to learn your slides with than the board slide. And the third reason is just that nose slides are easier to control than board slides. And that's gonna tie into the other thing. It's that you've got your wheels pressed up against the edge of the curb. Whereas with the board slide, like we said, you're connected at the middle, but your trucks, depending on how big the wheelbase of your board is, right? It's going to be anywhere from 13 to 14 3/4 inches on most boards. That's a lot of space for you to slide back and forth to get your weight in check. So yeah, those are the reasons that I think it takes precedence. So what is the slappy nose slide going to do that's going to change your skating? Well, for one thing, a lot of you getting better at skating is you getting good at identifying what to do in certain situations. Like when you first start trying an ollie, for instance, you have no idea what's going on. You're just trying to do what you've seen other people do, and it goes by so quickly that you're not able to identify the different movements. Over time, you do more ollies, you refine your technique for the ollie, and then it kind of slows down for you, right? Once you've done thousands of ollies, it's the amount of time that it actually elapses while you're doing your ollie doesn't change, but your perception of that time change. And that's because of your brain activity and because of you becoming more familiar with the movement. Well, the slappy nose slide is gonna do that in a different way. What it's gonna do is it's going to allow you to identify where your weight is once you get onto it, where you need to shift your weight. It's gonna help you identify how to come off of something and keep rolling, because let's say you're doing slappy nose slides already and you're sliding like a foot or less, right? And you haven't been able to commit to trying to slide farther. Well, a lot of times you get on, you get right off, you don't have enough time to think about what you're doing that's allowing you to roll. But inevitably, when you try to slide longer, what's gonna happen at first is you're gonna be afraid. You're gonna stand up too tall, you're gonna get into the ledge off balance, and you're gonna fall. And then eventually you're going to start to try to slow down what you're doing, identify the problem points. If you have a methodical approach, the way that I try to take, and I've always tried to take towards skateboarding, you're going to start to crouch a little better. You're going to learn that you need to be a certain distance from the curb. I like to be the distance of my tail and the length of my wheelbase from the curb so that I can just turn my shoulders and nudge right into that slappy nose slide. And then you're going to start to know what to do when you get into that position. You're going to know that you want only your toes and a little bit of the center of your foot to be covering your board. So you don't want your toes hanging off the front of your board while you're slappy nose sliding, because it's going to make it hard for you to come off, where you might not have noticed that when you were just doing a quick slide, because it doesn't matter as much, because there's not as much coordination required since you're just coming on and off. You're also going to notice that when you come off at first, you're going to stand straight up. And this is something natural that all of us humans do when we're in unfamiliar territory. But over time, you're going to realize that because you're sliding so long, you're losing speed. And when you lose speed, it's harder to come off and roll away. So you're going to have to start to adjust. You're going to have to do what I always mention, which is as you're sliding, you want to crouch lower and lower throughout the slide. And you're going to know that you need to start rotating your shoulders away from the curb and bending your knees as much more as you need to, so that you can suck up and absorb and roll away. And what this is going to do over time, if you do this enough, is it's going to give you more control over your board. It's going to give you more confidence in your ability to control your board. Another thing that you're going to learn, hopefully, or you can just listen to what I mentioned in this video, because I've mentioned this a lot, is in addition to that bicycle position that I talk about when you're sliding, where your arms are up, your head is slightly in front of your knees, and you're as close to your thigh bone being parallel with the ground as you possibly can, right? Like this morning when I filmed the cutaways that I'm going to show, I wasn't quite 90 degrees because I was extremely stiff. I hadn't skated in a few days, and it's been really hot, so I've been not as active since about Wednesday. But I'm as close to parallel as I can be. And so you're going to start to understand how controlling your body has a direct effect on controlling the board. Now, another function of this is going to be that you're just going to get comfortable going faster. And you're doing this on a low, relatively low risk object. So low to the ground and relatively low risk compared to the other obstacles you'll take on in the future. So this is going to allow you to try something that's low risk and boosts your confidence. So it's a win-win. The other thing that you're going to gain from these slappy nose slides is, you know, once you're doing long slappy nose slides, it follows that you start learning crooked grinds, right? And when you learn the crooked grind, if you already know how to slappy nose slide, your crooked grind, holding your crooked grind and holding your nose slide are very close. So this is going to give you a little bit of a lead off into holding your long crooked grinds, right? Assuming that you're also learning how to 50-50, then you'll be able to ollie up over the ledge and get it into a crooked grind, you know? Now learning long 50-50s, I don't think it has as much benefit, because when you're doing a longer 50-50, you really just stay still. Like once you get on top of the object, all you got to do is stay still. And that has its benefits too, but it's not as dynamic as holding the long nose slide. But I failed to get to my point from earlier, which is while you're sliding, you've got to engage your biceps, engage your core, and engage your quads. And engaging those three muscle groups is key to you controlling this slide and holding it for as long as you can. So this is also going to build strength, it's going to build balance, and it's going to help you build the connection between how what you do with your body affects the skateboard, because that's one of the big barriers between beginners and intermediates, right? Beginners seem to think, and I've mentioned this in other videos before, that something just happens with your board, whereas intermediate skaters start to get an understanding that what they do with their body affects the board. And then expert skaters know that you controlling your body is the way you're going to control your board. So it's just going to put you on that path. Now, the other benefit is that you're going to learn how to slide a longer nose slide. So once you're holding it on the curb, you can take it up to a ledge that's maybe 1.5 times the size of a curb or 2 times the size of a curb. And what you're going to notice is the only thing you're going to struggle with at first is your aim. But once you get your aim and you learn how to land into that bigger nose slide, you already have the habit of looking down at your feet so that you know how far you've slid and when you want to come off. You already have the habit of sitting in that bicycle position. You already have the habit of controlling the nose with your toes. You already have the habit of tightening up the 3 muscle groups that we spoke of. You already have the habit of squatting down until your thigh bone is just about parallel with the ground, and of exiting the ledge by starting rotating your shoulders away from the ledge. So it's going to be really easy for you to implement that once you're comfortable ollieing into that higher ledge. And then you can take it higher and higher from there. And it's going to be an easier process when you want to learn how to do a shove it out, a big spin out, a nollie flip out, a nollie heel flip out. This is just going to open up your ability to do what you want to do with nose slides, and eventually with switch tail slides and nollie nose slides. But also, then when you get to that board slide, you're going to have a better understanding of controlling a slide, of which muscle groups to activate, of how far to allow your body to turn and not to turn, of which position of bent your body should be, how to get your head in front of your knees so you can keep sliding forward as opposed to slipping backward. So what you do with this slappy nose slide, it's going to pay dividends as you get to the next plateau and the next plateau after that. And that's why I think this is one thing that you can do, learning long slappy nose slides, that's going to make you a better skateboarder forever. And that's all I have for today on this topic. There will be 2 other suggestion videos that I'm going to have up after this, so stay tuned for those. If you want to just go ahead and see what my recommendations were and you're interested in the other things that I offer, go ahead and join the Patreon group. It's linked below in the description. Thank you for watching. Appreciate all you guys. Did you guys watch the Olympics skateboarding? I watched. I definitely enjoyed watching. If you guys want to have a conversation about the Olympics and skateboarding in the Olympics, let me know. And maybe that's something that we can do over here. Definitely going to be doing more of those live streams, by the way, because you guys were enjoying those. It's a little bit hot out right now, though, so I don't want to be overheating my phone or camera or whatever I'm using to live stream. That gets really annoying when that happens. But yeah, I'll be doing those soon. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out Collage Skateboards. You can check out our website, www.collagesskateboards.com, or you can get the decks from clubdist.com, our distributor, who I appreciate very much. They got some other products over there, including Rockstar Bearings, who will be sponsoring me now, and Ace Trucks, who have been a sponsor of mine, and I've been doing the voiceover videos for them. Just finished recording another voiceover video for Ace. So yeah, that'll be cool when that comes out. But yeah, go check out Club Distribution. Don't forget to check out my other sponsors, by the way, too. Acid Chemical Co. Wheels, Remind Insoles. If you're in Los Angeles, swing by Kingswell in Los Feliz, you know. Give them a shout out. Devium Clothing, all those people. Peace.